Hey friend, I'm Brandon Gustafson. I help beginners like you launch their assisted living business in the next 12 months. In today's video, we're going to be talking about how to get your house zoned for assisted living, what that process looks like, and how you can go about it. If you need some help and some guidance in that phase of the process of launching your assisted living business, stick around for today's video. Hey friend, welcome back to Assisted Living Investing. Excited to have you here on the channel with me today. Before we get started in our topic though, I want to remind you to get over to the website, assistedlivinginvesting.net, to grab your free underwriting calculator to see if you have a profitable opportunity in front of you or not. Give it away for free. Assistedlivinginvesting.net, go grab that. And let's get into the topic for today's video. We're going to be talking about how to zone your property for assisted living, how to make sure that it is zoned properly, and what that process looks like. As you're getting your business up and running, as you want to start an assisted living business, the zoning and the certificate of occupancy that you're going to receive through that process is crucial to your ability to actually run an assisted living facility out of your home. You have probably watched videos, probably even ones like mine, where it's like, a 2 or 3 bed home. Can it be profitable? We'll link that one up above. Or, how many beds can you have inside of an assisted living facility? All of those types of things. And you keep coming back to, what about the HOA and what about the zoning? We're not going to get into HOA today. We have another video that we'll link up above, but we will be talking about zoning and what that looks like and why it can be one of the biggest barriers to getting your assisted living business up off the ground and help you get moving. I hear this from a lot of people that they found the perfect property. They have land to build on, but they just can't get the zoning in place. And so we want to talk about zoning, why it's so important, and how you can get over that hurdle to help you be successful. The best place for you to start here when it comes to figuring out the zoning process is your local municipality. Generally, this is the city. Sometimes it does go up to a county level, but you need to be talking to somebody there. Oftentimes this is somebody that's like a city planner. Questions that you can ask them are something like, can I do assisted living in this space? Now, the thing you're going to run into when you ask that question is when they think assisted living, and you are probably like this at one point as well, you thought of assisted living as the big apartment building down the street and not the residential home. And that is typically where their mind is at as well. And so there's a better way to ask that question. So if you ask or have asked in the past, can I do assisted living here? And they say, no, that's a house. And you tried to explain it, but you're not getting very far. You might need to reframe this question and ask it in a better way. The way that I found to do this is actually to say, you're looking at doing a care home business in the home. And that's going to trigger possibly some questions. Oh, well, what is a care home? What does that look like? Even though you might not be licensing it as a care home, it might not be called that. It's vernacular that works a lot better when you're talking to city planners or the people that are in charge of zoning inside of in a municipality. The other thing that you want to do, because this is the crux of zoning, is how many unrelated individuals can you have living in a home? It's a lot more technical, but you might have to get to that point where you're asking, what does that look like? What is the zoning in this property, and how many unrelated individuals can live in that home? So that's something you want to ask. Those are the 3 ways that you can ask that question. I found that the last 2 typically work better and are going to get you a better answer to help you figure out what that looks like. So once you get to that point and they tell you, oh yeah, you could have 12 people live there, you're like, sweet, now I'm good to go. Can I get that in writing? Basically, that's what you want to do. You just want to be like, awesome, I've got everything that I need there. Now, if they come back to you and they tell you, no, you can't do assisted living there, you can't do a care home, you can only have 4 unrelated individuals living in the home, your next step in the process is to figure out what that rezoning process is going to look like. So rezoning is basically taking it. So when you look at zoning, typically you're going to have like an R1, R2, and an R3 zone. The R stands for residential, and then the 1, 2, 3 is how many unrelated individuals can live in the home, and they step it up. That's generally kind of at its core, that's kind of what it looks like. Each state and municipality has different rules for how they administer it, but they oftentimes are following that same classification, R1, 2, and 3. They just interpret it differently. Now, if you need to rezone, what you're going to look at here is it could be as simple as an application. You just need to fill this out. Tell us how many people you want to live in the home, and then we'll review it and approve it, or we'll review it and tell you what needs to change in order for that to happen. It could be that simple. Like, it really could be just a simple application. That's all you got to do. Or it could be so much more complex than that, and it could be one of those things that goes out for public comment. They put the billboard kind of thing inside the yard, and they say there will be public comment at a city council meeting in 2 months from now because this place is getting, there's a proposal to turn it into assisted living. Like, it could be that complex, and you got to go to the city council meeting, and you've got to present to it, and you have to hear the comments and potentially respond to people's comments and concerns about turning it into assisted living and things like that. So it could be that complex, or they could just tell you, nope, there's no way that this is ever going to be rezoned and you can't do anything about it. That is a possibility. Most places will be able to work with you. It just could end up being a very complex process. Now, if you go through the more complex thing, it could be months before you get it rezoned. And at that point, you need to figure out for yourself, do I want to go through the process of doing this, or should I just go find another property? What's that going to look like? And so that's kind of how you handle those situations. But that's what it's going to look like. But you absolutely have to be clear on all of the questions that you ask. Make sure there is no ambiguity, that there is no confusion. Be as clear as you possibly can, because if you are not clear, it will create confusion, and confusion just leads to no's and very little, if any, progress. So you have to be clear in the way that you communicate to people. Spend time to write your email and then reread it, and then reread it again, and make sure that it makes sense. Don't use simple languages like it and the and that. Be very specific. The property located at this address, and that property is zoned as this, and the property is, like, you want to be very proper in the way that you do things, and don't use assumptive language at all. Be very specific to the point that you read it and you're like, man, this just sounds like I'm being a little over the top. You kind of have to be, otherwise it's going to create confusion and you will not make progress. So I've seen so many instances where deals or opportunities fall apart because of a lack of communication, and it's a lot easier for somebody to just say, no, we can't do that, because they don't understand and they don't want to feel stupid about asking a question. So they just say, no, sorry, we just can't do that. They would rather say that than try to go back and forth with you and try to figure things out. So just be as clear as you can. It will save you time and headaches and everything in the future. So just want to kind of point that out for you. The next question is, do you need a permit? So zoning and permits, they're not the exact same thing. It is possible that you will need to get some kind of a business permit to run a business, whether it's a licensed or an unlicensed facility. You may need to have some kind of a business permit to actually run the business. That is going to be up to the municipality. So possibly, if you're going to be doing major renovations on a house, you should probably permit that as well. Permit those renovations that you're doing on the home, just in case when you go to sell it or anything like that, it is permitted and approved and everything falls into place. It's possible you'll need permits, but not in every single instance will you need a permit. That is very much a case-by-case basis that you're going to see as you start working with different municipalities and different situations. So just something for you to be aware of. Possible, but not every single time. Now, what about zoning if it changes? So you're owning a property, you have the house, you have the assisted living facility. 2 years later, city says, we're rezoning this area. Are you like, does that shut you down? No, it doesn't. Typically, almost always, I've not seen this anywhere else, you get grandfathered in to the zoning classification you were in when it was initially zoned. Now, if you were to shut down the facility and the intended use of that property changed and it was no longer used as assisted living, and then you went to go try to sell it, but the zoning had changed, you're going to have a big uphill battle to get that to work. But as long as it stays with the intended use of the home being assisted living, you will maintain that zoning. We actually ran into a little bit of this in Colorado. We were able to resolve it, but it was a point of friction like a few years after the fact, after buying the home, that we had some questions questions arise about zoning, we had to just kind of work with the county office in this case to help figure things out. So you should be grandfathered in. You shouldn't have to worry about zoning changes and how it will impact your business. You get grandfathered in at the zoning classification that you're in. So who do you talk to? You're talking to a city planner. That's likely the person that you're going to talk to. If it's not them, talk to them anyways, and they will point you in the right direction to help you get started. Now, if you found any of this to be helpful, comment zoning down below. I would love to hear from you there. If you have specific questions about zoning or experiences that you've had with zoning, comment those down below as well. I think people would benefit from hearing from you, but also I'll see if I can help you out as well. What questions do you have specifically about zoning and experiences that you've had, and I'll see what I can do to help you out. And if you need some extra guidance as you're going through this process and just you need that structure, you feel overwhelmed and confused and you just don't know how to get started, I would love to help you out. Go check out the mastermind program, alimastermind.com/application. Fill out this application. It takes less than 5 minutes. Lets me see your goals, where you're at, and what you need help with. If the mastermind program is a good fit from there, I'll give you the information on it and help guide you. There's going to be a webinar there that kind of walks you through exactly what this looks like and how it can help you launch your assisted living business. And if it's not a good fit and now's not the right time, that's totally fine too. I'll give you some other resources and help you along the way. I'm here to help you. It's what I love doing. As much as I do the coaching for me because it's rewarding, I do it for you because I want to see you succeed. So if you need some help, go check out the mastermind program, alimastermind.com/application. Would love to see you over there. To recap this video, again, we've been talking about zoning. We've been talking about how to go through the zoning process, how to check if it's zoned properly. If you need to rezone it, what does that look like? And some of these other little tiny questions that come out, permits, and what if zoning changes, what does that look like? And hopefully that gave you the information that you need to feel confident as you're moving forward and launching your assisted living business. If you haven't already, you found this helpful, like the video, subscribe, and ring the bell as well so you get notified every time we put out content like this. We do lives on Tuesdays and videos on Thursdays, all with the goal of helping you launch your assisted living business. Does residential assisted living sound interesting to you, but you don't know how to get started? At assistedlivinginvesting.net, we're here to help beginners like you launch their assisted living business in the next 12 months. I want to thank you for watching. Thanks for being here, and remind you that it doesn't take a lot, just a little bit. Just keep going step by step by step. I promise you that if you do and you're consistent and persistent, you're going to be successful. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.